Have you ever looked at your life and thought, this is not what I planned? This is not what I prayed for. Maybe you're walking through a season where nothing makes sense. You did everything right. You followed God, made sacrifices, stayed faithful, and still, the road got rough. Still, the door closed. The diagnosis came. The relationship fell apart. And now you're left with questions, with silence, with pain. If that's you, I want you to know, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not without hope. Today, I want to talk to you about what it truly means to trust God when life doesn't make sense. Not in theory, but in real life. Because faith isn't just for the easy seasons. It's for the dark valleys, the midnight hours, the silent Saturdays between the cross and the resurrection. C.S. Lewis once said, "Faith is the art of holding on to things your reason has once accepted, in spite of your changing moods." There will come a time in every believer's life when your logic and your faith will clash, when what you see contradicts what you believe, when your understanding says, "This is over," but your faith whispers, "God's not done." And this is the first truth I want to share with you today. Faith does not require full understanding to be real. In fact, the very essence of faith is trusting God without having all the answers. Hebrews 11 verse 1 tells us, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." We often say, "I'll trust God when I understand what He's doing." But what if God is asking you to trust Him because you don't? Abraham didn't understand why God told him to leave his home and go to a land he'd never seen. No map, no details, just a command, go. And yet he went. That's trust. Let's be honest. Sometimes the hardest part of trusting God is when He's silent. You pray, you cry, you wait, but heaven seems quiet. Even Jesus, the Son of God, felt this. On the cross, He cried out in Matthew 27 verse 46, my God, why have you forsaken me?" That moment, raw, painful, and human, reminds us that even the most faithful experience the silence of God. But silence does not mean absence, and silence does not mean indifference. Sometimes silence is where God does His deepest work. In the silence, God teaches us to walk by faith, not by feelings. In the silence, He tests the roots of our trust. Are we following Him because He blesses us, or because we believe He is who He says He is? Think about a teacher during a test. They're quiet, not because they've abandoned the student, but because it's time for the student to apply what they've learned. Maybe you're in that season. God hasn't left you. He's watching. He's near, but He's letting you grow. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Just because it hurts doesn't mean it's not God. We assume God's will should always feel peaceful, easy, and joyful. But what if the pain is part of the preparation? Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, falsely accused, and imprisoned. 13 years of suffering. But in Genesis 50 verse 20, he looks his brothers in the eye and says, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." What if your disappointment is divine direction? What if the closed door is God's protection? What if the thing that feels like a delay is actually God developing you for something greater? Romans 8 verse 28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." It doesn't say some things. It says all things. That means the heartbreak, the job loss, the sickness, the unanswered prayer, all of it, somehow, in ways you can't yet see. God is weaving it together for your good. If we're honest, one of the main reasons we struggle to trust God is because we love control. We like to plan. We like to understand. We want clarity before obedience. But God doesn't always offer clarity. He offers Himself. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 tells us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths." You can't lean on both your understanding and God at the same time. One will collapse under pressure. The other will carry you. To trust God, you must let go of the need to figure it all out. Because faith isn't built on explanations. It's built on relationship. Look back at your life. You've made it through every valley you thought would break you. You're still standing. Has God ever failed you? Not disappointed you, because disappointment often comes from unmet expectations. But has He failed you? The truth is, God has a perfect track record. Every promise He's made, He has either already fulfilled, or He will. Numbers 23:19 reminds us, God is not a man, that He should lie. Has He said, and will He not do it? Your current situation may be confusing, but His character is not. When you can't see His hand, trust His heart. He's never left you, and He's not about to start now. So what do you do when life doesn't make sense? You trust, not blindly, but deeply. You trust that God knows what you do not. You trust that His ways are higher. You trust that even in the silence, He is speaking. Even in the darkness, He is light. Psalm 23 doesn't say, God will keep me from the valley. It says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. He may not take you around the valley, but He'll walk with you through it. So if you're hurting today, confused, and wondering why life looks like this, don't give up. Don't stop believing. Don't let the enemy convince you that God has abandoned you. This may not be the end of your story. It might just be the middle, and the author still has the pen in his hand. So trust Him, even when it doesn't make sense, especially when it doesn't make sense, because one day you'll look back and say, God, I didn't see it then, but you were with me all along. And that's the kind of faith that changes everything.